The morning begins not with an alarm clock, but with the soft, hollow sound of a wooden bell echoing through the red clay village. You open your eyes slowly. The air is warm already, though the sun has barely peaked above the horizon. Outside your small straw hut, the ground is painted in hues of burnt orange and gold, the color of a world long untouched by modern time. You stretch, still drowsy, and follow the sound. A boy no older than 10 walks barefoot along the narrow path between mud brick homes. He carries the bell in one hand, letting it chime gently with each step. His name is Debo. No one told you his name, but somehow you know. Debo isn't just waking the village, he's calling it to remember. You follow him past quiet courtyards and sleeping goats. A woman in bright indigo wrap stirs a pot over an open fire. She smiles at you, as if you've been here before. Maybe you have, in some dream or forgotten story. As Debo reaches the edge of the village, he stops before an ancient baobab tree. Its roots twist like stories buried in time, and its shadow stretches long across the red sand. There, under the shade, sits an old man on a carved wooden stool. His eyes are closed, but his voice rises the moment you approach. You've come for the salt, haven't you? But first, you must hear the stories it carries. He gestures to a low mat beside him. You sit. The wind picks up gently. It smells of dust, dry grass, and something older, the memory of a caravan that passed this way centuries ago. The old man lifts his hands, palms scarred with time, and begins. Before Debo was born, before I had this beard, even before this village had a name, there was only the road. A road made not of stone, but of footsteps, whispers, and grains of salt. And just like that, you're no longer just a visitor. You're part of the tale. The bell chimes again in the distance, not behind you, but ahead. The journey has begun. The old man's story trails off like sand through fingers, and for a moment, all is still. Then, he rises slowly and motions for you to follow him. Debo is already ahead, skipping barefoot down a path of hard-packed earth. The morning sun is climbing, painting long shadows across the land. You walk past homes built from clay and straw, past bundles of dried millet, and children chasing each other with wide smiles and stick swords. Eventually, you come to a low, round hut at the farthest edge of the village. Its door is nothing more than a woven mat. The old man lifts it gently. Inside, the light is dim and cool. The air smells faintly of earth and leather. And there, sitting cross-legged on a straw mat, is a figure draped in deep blue, older even than the storyteller, with milky eyes that gaze at nothing, and everything. That, the old man whispers, is Sadhu. The last salt seller. You step forward slowly. Before you can speak, Sadhu raises a hand, fingers curled like dried roots, and says in a voice worn smooth by sand and silence. Do you know the taste of ancient oceans? You hesitate. Salt, he answers himself. Salt remembers what water forgets. From behind him, he retrieves a small leather pouch. He unties it with care and pours a handful of white crystals into a shallow wooden bowl. But this salt is not white like the kind in your kitchen. It glimmers with faint shades of pink, amber, and gray, as though each grain holds the colors of all the places it has passed. He continues. I walked with the caravans when the stars were still close enough to whisper to us. 30 days across the dunes, 30 nights under a sky that never blinked. We carried salt on the backs of camels, wrapped in goat hide, stacked like books of stone. He pauses, tilting his head, listening to something only he can hear. The salt was not just food. It was currency, protection, offering. It cured wounds, preserved life, and paid for death. You glance down at the bowl. The crystals seem to hum with their own quiet energy. One night, Sada says, voice lowering, our caravan was caught in a sandstorm that raged for 3 days. We lost the camels. We lost the salt. We lost the men. All but me. Why you ask? He smiles. Because I listen to the salt. You're not sure if it's a riddle or something deeper. Suddenly, Debo appears beside you and reaches into his satchel. He pulls out a tiny sack and offers it to Sadhu. The old man touches it reverently and nods. You'll walk the road too, one day, Sadhu murmurs, turning to you now. Not for riches, but for remembrance. Outside, the wind shifts again. It carries the faint scent of something metallic, clean, and ancient. Salt. The old man turns and whispers. The road begins again. That night, the village disappears into a silence so soft, even the goats seem to hold their breath. The stars spill across the sky like spilled salt from a cracked pouch, endless, quiet, glowing. You lie on a straw mat beside Debo and a few other boys. The air is cool now, and the sand no longer burns. Somewhere in the distance, a drum beats, slow, steady, like a pulse beneath the desert. Before sleep can take you, Debo leans over and whispers, "Do you want to play the game of the wind?" You blink in the dark. What kind of game? He smiles like he knows a secret. It's not a game you win. It's a game you feel. Without another word, he gets up and gestures for you to follow. You both walk beyond the edge of the village, where the land opens into low dunes and wind-polished rocks. There's no light but the stars, no sound but your own breath and the hush of shifting sand. Debo stops, kneels, and presses his ear to the ground. Then, he points at the horizon. The wind is changing, he says. Do you hear it? You kneel, too. At first, all you hear is silence. Then, faint, like memory, a soft whistle, like air being drawn through a reed. It grows, layer by layer, into a kind of song. The wind is speaking. Debo scoops up a handful of sand and lets it fall slowly from his fingers. It scatters in a pattern you can't quite understand. He does it again, and this time you notice, the sand doesn't fall straight. It curves. It dances. We ask the wind a question, he says. And it answers. He stands and faces you with both palms open. Ask something. You hesitate, then whisper, "Where does the salt come from?" Debo grins and throws sand into the air. The wind catches it, twists it, and for a moment it forms a strange spiral before falling in silence. It comes from the bones of oceans, Debo says solemnly. From the tears of the earth. From places we cannot reach, except in dreams. You're not sure if that's the answer you were meant to hear, or if you're still playing the game. Then he reaches behind a rock and pulls out a small, smooth stone etched with 3 crooked lines. We find these after every big wind, he says. They say the desert leaves them behind to mark the path. You take the stone in your palm. It's warm, though the night is cold. Keep it, Debo says. It's part of the riddle. As you walk back toward the village, he adds one last thing. The wind never tells the same story twice. You have to listen with your feet, not your ears. You lie back on the mat, stone clutched in your hand, and fall asleep to the sound of wind carrying secrets across the sands, secrets that only those who ask questions can ever begin to hear. The sun returns, rising over the horizon like melted gold poured across the dunes. The village wakes not with the wooden bell this time, but with a steady, low rhythm, a heartbeat made of skin and wood. Dum, dum dum, dum. You follow the sound to the center of the village, where a small circle has formed. Children sit cross-legged, elders nod slowly with closed eyes, and in the middle, Debo. He sits with his legs folded, a large goatskin drum resting between his knees. His hands move with purpose, not striking the drum, but coaxing sound from it, pressing, tapping, then lifting, as if drawing breath from the skin of something once alive. You sit down at the edge of the circle. This drum, an old woman beside you whispers, is not for music. It is for memory. She gestures toward Debo, whose eyes are closed, lips moving silently as he plays. Every beat tells a name. Every silence tells a loss. The air thickens. Not with dust, but with feeling. Debo's rhythm changes. Now it mimics the slow tread of camels, the rush of wind, the stutter of fear. Then it pauses, long, aching pauses that say more than words ever could. You close your eyes. And suddenly, you see it, a caravan stretching across the sands, shimmering under heat. Men with wrapped faces, leading camels heavy with blocks of salt tied in strips of goat hide. A boy, Debo, or someone like him, walking beside the beasts, humming this very rhythm under his breath. Then, a storm. Fast, cruel. A sky gone dark. The drum stutters into silence. When the beat returns, it's soft. Mournful. Only 3 camels remain. Only 2 men. 1 drum. You open your eyes. The circle around you hasn't moved. But something in you has. Debo stops playing. He places the drum gently beside him and looks at you, not with pride, but with calm understanding. Drums remember what mouths forget, he says. The elders nod. The old woman beside you smiles, then leans in close. If you listen long enough, she says, you'll hear your own name in the rhythm. Not the name your mother gave you, the name the desert gives you. You glance again at the goatskin drum, at Debo's quiet face, at the way the wind stirs the red dust around the circle. Somewhere deep in your chest, a quiet beat begins. Dum, dum dum, dum. It's the rhythm of a story you've just begun to remember. That evening, as the sun slips below the dunes and the sky melts from gold to indigo, the villagers gather once more, this time not for drums, but for fire. A single flame flickers at the center of the gathering. It's small, almost fragile, cupped within a circle of stones. But no one adds wood. No one feeds it. And yet, it burns. This fire, says the storyteller, the same old man who welcomed you your first morning here, has burned for 300 years. He sits beside it now, his face carved with lines like dry riverbeds. He does not shout. His voice is steady, low, and warm like the flame itself. It is not flame from trees or oil. It is flame from stories. You sit closer. The heat is not hot, but comforting, like the memory of a blanket from childhood. The man reaches into a pouch at his side and pulls out a handful of blackened pebbles. He drops one into the fire. It sizzles, not with smoke, but with sound, faint whispers, like laughter at the edge of sleep. These, he says, are memory stones. Each holds a story. When placed in the fire, the story returns. He gestures toward a boy, not Debo this time, another child, silent and wide-eyed. The boy steps forward, takes a stone from the pouch, and drops it in. This time, the fire flares blue, then green. A sound rises, the rumble of camels, the clink of salt blocks. Then voices, a girl singing an old song, too soft to understand but strong enough to feel. The villagers close their eyes. So do you. And you see it again, the salt road winding across ancient sands, lit by a moon too large to be real. You feel the weight of time pressing behind you, and the gentle pull of stories ahead. Then, silence. The flame returns to orange. The old man smiles. The fire never dies, he says, because we keep remembering. And remembering is the only way to keep something alive after the sand takes it. You look around. Everyone is quiet, still. But not asleep. They are dreaming, eyes open, hearts listening. Debo sits beside you again. He doesn't speak. Instead, he offers you a stone from the pouch. It's warm in your hand. He nods toward the fire. Your turn. You step forward. The villagers watch, not with judgment, but with trust. You drop the stone into the flame. It flares, not blue, not green, but a soft, golden hue, like sunrise on an ocean long gone. And in that light, a memory not your own begins to take shape. A young man, alone in the desert. Lost. But not afraid. He carries no salt. No camel. Only a song. And with each step, the song keeps the fire inside him alive. You realize, slowly, the story you've returned is not from the past. It's your own. Morning again, but this one feels different. The sun rises not just over the dunes, but within you. As if the stories, the wind, the drum beats, and the fire have stitched something new beneath your skin. Or maybe, they've simply revealed what was already there. You find Debo tracing patterns in the sand with a stick. Spirals. Dots. Lines that intersect and loop like the tracks of animals or stars. You ask what he's drawing. A map, he says. But there's no paper. No ink. Just sand. Where does it lead? Debo smiles without looking up. To wherever you already are. You frown. That's not a real map. He shrugs. It is here. He taps his chest. Then yours. The old storyteller joins you both, humming something slow. In his hand, a worn scrap of leather. He holds it out. It's a map, but not like any you've seen. No cities. No roads. Only symbols, a spiral, a star, a drum, a hand, a wave, a tree with no roots. Each traveler marks their path differently, he explains. This one belonged to my grandmother. She never left the desert. But her stories went everywhere. You tilt the leather in the sun. The ink gleams, not black, but shimmering silver, like threads of moonlight. The map isn't for your feet, he adds. It's for your choices. Debo points at the spiral. That's where we are now. The center. The question. What question, you ask? The storyteller leans closer. Who will you be when the story forgets your name, but remembers your heart? A quiet breeze blows. It erases the sand map Debo drew. But neither of you seem sad. Because the real map isn't gone. It's already inside you. You hold the leather map. You feel the rhythm of the drum. You hear the whisper of the fire. And in that moment, the desert is no longer a place on earth. It is a place in you. The day of departure arrives with no announcement, only the quiet bustle of preparation. Camels groan softly as their burdens are secured, blocks of salt wrapped in goat hide, leather sacks of dried dates, gourds filled with water. The village does not cry, does not cheer. They simply prepare, as they always have, for the road that swallows and reshapes those who walk it. You're not sure when it was decided that you would go. No one told you. No one asked. But when Debo hands you a bundle of cloth, you do not hesitate. Every caravan brings salt, he says, tightening the last knot on your pack. But it also brings back silence, and sometimes, songs. The elder approaches and slips something into your hand, the warm stone from the fire. Not all stories are meant to be told, he says. Some are meant to be carried. You tuck the stone into your satchel, beside a scrap of the map with no ink, beside a handful of sand you now realize you will miss. As the caravan begins to move, the village stands still, a quiet line of figures against the endless dunes. The rhythm of the camel's steps picks up, like a soft drum. Debo walks beside you, his eyes on the horizon. You walk for hours. Then days. You lose track of time. At night, the wind hums lullabies you've never heard but somehow know. You dream of blue cities built from salt and music. Of forgotten languages written in starlight. Of the drum's steady beat echoing from inside a cave of bones. Sometimes, travelers join the caravan, walking in silence. Other times, you part ways with someone who gave no name but left a story in your hands. One night, as you sit around a small fire far from any map, Debo breaks the silence. Do you feel different? You think for a moment. Then answer, I think the salt has entered my skin. He smiles. Good. It means you're becoming part of the road. And you realize, no caravan ever comes back the same, because no soul can walk through the desert and remain untouched. The salt may return to the village, but the journey remains in the feet, in the silence, in the firestones carried home. The road continues. The stars shift. Your name fades. But your story walks on. It begins with a rumor. An old man with sand-cracked lips whispers to your caravan at a desert crossroad, a tale traded not for salt or silver, but for silence. He speaks of a city made of shadow and light, carved into the stone of memory itself. A city that cannot be found on any map. A city that only appears at dusk. You don't find it, he says. You remember it, just in time. No one speaks. Even Debo is quiet. But the next morning, the caravan changes course. You travel toward nothing. No smoke. No river. Just a direction. Days pass. Then one evening, as the sky shifts from gold to lavender, the air grows still. Even the camels hesitate. Debo places a hand on your shoulder. Don't blink. At first, you see only heat and haze. But then, like breath on glass, the city appears. Not built. Not raised. Not there in the way other places are. It unfolds. From the shimmer of light and the hum of memory, shapes take form, sandstone towers with windows like eyes, bridges of woven thread, doorways that open before you touch them. The caravan enters. No one guards the gates. No gates exist. Inside, the streets are soft with dust but lined with echoes. You hear laughter from an alley where no one stands. You see footsteps appear in front of you before anyone walks them. A woman offers you water in a silver bowl. Her face is familiar, though you're sure you've never met. This place, she says, remembers everyone who has ever searched for it. You sit beside a fountain that flows without source. Debo joins you, silent as always. He reaches into his pack, pulls out the firestone, and drops it into the fountain. Instead of sinking, it floats. Glowing. This is not a city of stone, he says. It's a city of remains. You understand. This city is made of moments people almost forgot, of questions never asked aloud, of songs hummed once, then lost to wind. It appears only at dusk because twilight is the hour of memory. When day lets go, but night hasn't yet claimed what's left. You spend the night there, but when dawn touches the horizon, the city begins to dissolve, not crumbling, not vanishing, but slipping. Back into the place between sleep and story. You blink and it's gone. Sand, again. Empty horizon. But the silver bowl remains in your hands. And the faint sound of a fountain lingers in your ears. The caravan moves on. You do not speak of the city. You don't need to. It's still with you, somewhere between your heartbeat and your breath. The road is quieter now. The sun hangs lower, casting long shadows on the sand. The caravan seems smaller, though no one has joined or left. The desert feels as if it has been waiting for something, or perhaps, for someone. You feel it too, a silent pull, an itch that cannot be scratched. It happens on the fourth day after leaving the city that only appears at dusk. You come across a small, solitary stall. At first, you think it's a mirage, a trick of the heat, a shimmer in the distance. But as you approach, it solidifies, becoming more real with each step. The stall is simple, a wooden frame covered by a tattered cloth. There's no sign, no words. Just an old man seated behind it, his eyes hidden beneath the wide brim of his hat. His hands are busy arranging small jars, glass jars, delicate, glinting with an inner light. There are dozens of them, maybe hundreds, each one sealed with wax. Some are clear, some have swirling colors inside. You stop. The man looks up. His eyes are the color of dusk. Looking for something, he asks, voice low like the hum of the wind. You glance at the jars. Something in the way they catch the light feels wrong. Or maybe it's just the way they feel, like they're holding something you can't quite name. He sees your hesitation and chuckles softly, as if reading your mind. They're not what you think, he says. But perhaps they're just what you need. You step closer, drawn by an invisible thread. You pick up a jar. It's light in your hands, and the wax seal is warm. What's inside, you ask. Time, the man replies simply. For a price. You look at him, confused. Time. Yes, he nods, as if this is the most natural thing in the world. I trade time. The hours, the days, the moments you feel slipping away. You see, time doesn't belong to anyone. Not truly. It's always moving, always shifting. But I've found a way to bottle it. You glance at the jars again. Some seem full, others only half filled. The air around them feels heavy, like the weight of 1,000 thoughts. How much time is in one, you ask, still uncertain. The trader smiles, a thin, knowing smile. The jar doesn't hold time in the way you think. It holds memories. That's what you're buying, a moment captured, a piece of life that can never be replaced. You turn the jar in your hands, looking at the soft glow inside. It flickers, like the last embers of a dying fire. You're tempted, drawn by the idea of holding a moment, of preserving it forever. How much, you ask, though you already know the answer. The man raises one eyebrow. The cost is simple, he says. One memory of your own, a piece of your life, to make room for another. You hesitate. A memory? Could you trade a piece of yourself for something like this? What memory would you give? You look around. The caravan waits, but it feels distant now, as if the road ahead has taken on a different shape. The man watches you closely, waiting. He doesn't speak again, but his silence feels louder than any words. Finally, you place the jar down on the counter and step back. I have no memory to spare, you say quietly. The trader nods, his eyes softening. Then you've already learned the most important thing, time is not for sale. It is meant to be lived, not traded. You leave the stall, the warmth of the jar still in your hands. You look at it for a moment, then set it gently on the sand. It rolls a few feet before it stops. As you walk away, the jar is no longer there. But the memory? The lesson? That stays with you, burning softly in your chest, like the last flicker of a fire before it becomes ashes. The days blend together now, indistinguishable from one another, a seamless wave of dust and horizon. The caravan moves steadily, as it always does, but the world feels quieter. As if something is waiting to be found, though you can't name it. It's on the 7th evening after the stall that you notice something odd. A stone. It's small, round, and weathered, sitting at the edge of the path just beyond the camp. It shouldn't be there. There's nothing but sand, nothing for miles, but still, the stone rests. You stare at it for a moment, drawn to it for reasons you can't explain. The firelight flickers in the distance, but you step closer to the stone. Debo sees you. Don't touch that, he says, his voice unusually stern. You pause, looking up at him. Why? He doesn't answer at first, his eyes narrowing slightly. He steps closer, as if unsure whether to say anything more. It's a thing of the desert, he finally mutters. Not to be taken lightly. But your curiosity is stronger than the warning. You crouch down and reach for the stone. The moment your fingers brush against it, something happens. A ripple runs through the air, a sudden shiver that stirs the sand beneath your feet. The stone vibrates, ever so faintly. Then, impossibly, a soft sound escapes it, a whisper. You freeze. The stone hums, like wind through a canyon, like distant voices in the desert night. It's not a voice you recognize, not a language you understand, but the sound feels familiar. It feels old. Debo steps back, his face pale. "I told you," he says softly. "That's no ordinary stone. That stone can hear the wind." You hold the stone, unsure of what to do. The hum continues, like the wind itself is speaking through the rock. You listen, but you hear no words, only the echo of time, the pulse of the earth. The stone suddenly grows warm in your palm. And for a moment, just a moment, you feel the world around you change, as if the sand shifts beneath your feet, as if the air becomes thicker, more present. You close your eyes, drawn into the rhythm of the sound. The wind, it calls to you, not with words, but with something deeper. A promise. A reminder. The things you've forgotten. The things you never knew. Then, just as quickly as it began, the hum fades. The stone is still. Silent. And the desert is the same as before, unchanging, timeless. But you know something now. You understand that the desert remembers. The stone remembers. The wind remembers. And perhaps, just perhaps, you've heard something the world never intended for you to hear. You tuck the stone into your pack, carefully. As you stand, you turn back toward the caravan. Debo watches you, his eyes filled with an unspoken question, but you don't say anything. Some things, after all, are meant to remain silent. The caravan has crossed into new territory. The wind is different here, carrying a faint chill that nips at your skin even under the burning sun. The sand is finer, almost powdery, and the sky stretches impossibly wide above. But it is the stillness that strikes you most. The quiet that feels more profound, as though the world itself is holding its breath. The evening comes quickly, and the fire is lit, casting flickering shadows on the faces of the travelers. Tonight, there is no distant hum of camels, no rustling of cloth in the wind. Only silence. But then, you see him. A figure, cloaked in dark fabric, standing at the edge of the camp. His back is to the fire, and his face is hidden beneath the folds of his hood. He's still, like a statue, and at first, you wonder if he is a mirage, a trick of the desert light. But then, he turns, slowly, and you meet his gaze. His eyes are the color of deep twilight, the kind of dusk that swallows the last rays of the sun, turning the world into shades of indigo and violet. His presence is unsettling, yet strangely calming. "You seek stories," he says, his voice low but clear. "I have many. Would you hear one?" You nod, drawn by the strange weight of his words. He steps forward, and as he does, the night seems to grow deeper, as if the stars themselves are leaning in to listen. "I once met a man," he begins, his voice weaving a tale into the fabric of the night, "who painted the stars." You lean in, captivated. "This man was not a painter in the way you think," the stranger continues. "He didn't use brushes or oils, nor did he sketch his designs on canvas. No, his canvas was the night sky itself, and his paints, well, they were far more unusual." He pauses for a moment, as if to gather the stars themselves before continuing. He would climb to the highest point in the desert, where the sand met the stars, and there, he would begin to paint. Not with strokes, but with thoughts. With dreams. With wishes that carried the weight of the earth and the light of the stars. Every thought he had, every wish he whispered, turned into a star. A new one would appear in the sky, glimmering softly at first, and then burning brighter than all the rest. You watch the man's eyes as he speaks, the depth of his words washing over you. The firelight dances in his gaze, and you wonder if he is speaking of someone long lost or if he himself might be the painter. He painted for years, the stranger continues. For centuries, even, without ever pausing to wonder if anyone would notice. The stars he created were not for the eyes of men, but for the hearts of those who dared to dream. You feel the weight of his words sink deep within you, like the quiet of the desert night, like the stars themselves pressing in. But one day, the man realized something. He looked up at the sky, at his work, his lifetime's creation, and he saw that the stars no longer flickered with the same brilliance. They had become too many, scattered across the sky like forgotten memories. Some faded. Some vanished. And all the while, the man had been too busy creating to notice that the stars were no longer his to paint. The stranger falls silent for a moment, as if lost in his own thoughts. The man learned, he says softly, that the stars are not his to control. That no one, not even the greatest painter, can hold the sky in their hands forever. They are not meant to be painted, but observed, allowed to grow on their own, in their own time. He looks at you then, his gaze piercing through the firelight. So I ask you, traveler, what stars will you paint, and will you allow them to grow on their own, or will you try to control their light? The air feels thick with his question. You search for an answer but find none, only the vast, unspoken space between you and the sky. The man turns slowly, as if the story has finished, and begins to walk away. But as he does, the stars above seem to shimmer, flickering in strange patterns, as if something has shifted in the air. You can't tell if it's the stranger's words or something else, but for the first time, you look at the stars above and see them differently. Not as distant points of light, but as something alive, something breathing, something waiting. The stranger disappears into the night, leaving you with his question, and the stars that continue to burn above. The wind is a song now, a melody that whispers through the dunes, carrying with it the taste of salt and sand. You can hear it if you listen closely, a soft hum beneath the usual desert stillness, like the earth itself is singing. It's the following evening when you first hear it clearly. The caravan is camped by an oasis, its water shimmering in the pale moonlight. The palm trees stand tall, their leaves rustling in the breeze. The fire crackles, casting long shadows on the sand. It's peaceful here, quieter than anywhere you've been so far. You sit by the fire, staring into the flames, when you hear it. A soft note, almost imperceptible, carried by the wind. Then another, like a distant bell tolling. You pause, your attention captured, straining to catch the sound. It's not the wind. It's music. A melody so gentle, so deep, it almost feels like it's coming from within you. From the earth. From the desert itself. You rise to your feet, drawn toward the sound. It's faint, distant, but unmistakable. The song seems to beckon you, like an old friend calling you home. Do you hear it? You ask Debo, who's seated by the fire, staring into the flames as if lost in thought. He looks up at you, his brow furrowed. What do you mean? He replies, his voice flat. You glance toward the horizon, where the sound seems to be coming from, but it's hard to pinpoint its exact source. The night is still, the desert endless. The music, you whisper. It's like the desert is singing. Debo shakes his head slowly, looking at you with a mixture of concern and disbelief. The desert sings, yes. But only to those who listen long enough to hear it. You feel a shiver run through you. The air around you grows colder, and the melody grows louder, clearer. It's not the sound of instruments, not the sound of people. It's something older, deeper. Something born of the earth and the stars, something that has been here long before you arrived and will remain long after you've gone. It pulls you, guides you, and you follow. The path leading away from the oasis is faint, the sand shifting beneath your feet with each step. The stars above are bright, unblinking, watching as you move toward the source of the song. As you walk, the air feels thicker, more alive. The night hums around you. You hear the song in every breeze, in the rustling of the leaves, in the very pulse of the earth beneath you. Then, in the distance, you see it. A small, ancient ruin, half buried in the sand. The walls are weathered, cracked, but something about it pulls you in. You know, without a doubt, that this is the source of the song. You step forward, the music growing louder, its rhythm matching the beat of your heart. The wind begins to swirl around you, carrying with it the sounds of 1,000 voices, of 1,000 forgotten stories, all singing together. The ruins seem to hum in time with the music, as if they, too, are alive. You can feel the weight of the ages pressing in on you, and yet, there is no fear. There is only the song, ancient, soothing, eternal. You walk into the heart of the ruins, where a large stone altar sits, covered in sand. The song is louder now, a chorus of voices, but it's not coming from any one place. It feels as though the entire desert is singing through you, through the earth, through the stars. You kneel before the altar, your hand resting on the stone. It is warm to the touch, pulsing with life, and as you do, the song changes. It shifts, becoming more complex, more intricate. It is as if the desert itself is revealing something to you, something hidden in the deep, forgotten corners of time. For a moment, you understand it. You understand the desert song. It is a song of memory, of life, of all the things that have come before and all that will follow. It is a song of the earth itself, of the wind and the stars, of every step that has ever been taken across this land. And then, just as quickly as it came, the song fades. The wind stills. The ruins are silent once more. But you are not the same. You have heard something that few have ever heard. You have felt something ancient, something powerful. The desert's heart beats within you now, and you know that no matter where you go, its song will follow you, always. You rise from the altar, the memory of the song still echoing in your mind. The stars above are clearer than ever, as if they, too, are watching you now, guiding you on your path. You turn back toward the caravan, but as you do, you glance once more at the ruins. The desert is quiet now, as it always is, but in the depths of the night, you know that it is never truly silent. The song will always be there. The desert sun has begun its slow descent, casting long, golden shadows across the endless dunes. The fire in the center of the camp flickers, sending dancing sparks into the cool evening air. The travelers have settled in, but you can't shake the feeling that something has changed, something within you. It's the song. It still lingers, soft as the evening breeze, a quiet pulse beneath everything around you. You hear it when the wind shifts, when the sand moves, and sometimes when you're alone with your thoughts. But there's something more, something you haven't yet figured out. The night settles around you, and you decide to take a walk alone to clear your mind. The camp is quiet, and the sounds of laughter and conversation fade as you move further into the vastness of the desert. The stars above are brighter tonight, and their light seems to guide your steps. You walk for a long time, letting the desert swallow you, the soft crunch of sand beneath your feet your only companion. As the horizon begins to blur into the deep blue of dusk, you see something unexpected. A figure, standing at the edge of the dunes. It's a man, cloaked in weathered fabric, his features hidden beneath the hood. He stands motionless, as if waiting for you. You feel the pull of something ancient, something that whispers to you from the heart of the desert. You approach cautiously, and when you're close enough, the man speaks. You've heard the song, he says, his voice low and rasping, like it hasn't been used in years. The song of the desert. Of the earth, of time. And now, you seek the road. The words hang in the air, heavy with meaning. You don't ask him how he knows. Somehow, it feels as though he's always known. I am the keeper of forgotten roads, he continues, stepping aside to reveal a narrow path carved through the dunes. The road that leads where few dare to go. The road that does not appear on any map. You look at the path, and your heart quickens. There's something in the way he speaks, in the way he stands, that tells you this road is more than just a trail. It's a journey. A journey that only those who hear the desert's song can take. The road you seek, he says, is not one that can be found by all. It is for those who have felt the pulse of the earth, who have heard the song of the stars. It is a road that leads to places lost, forgotten by time, but never by memory. You swallow, your throat dry. You know in your bones that this road is the next step on your journey, that it holds answers to questions you haven't yet asked. Do you wish to walk it? The keeper asks, his eyes now gleaming from the shadows of his hood. To follow the path that winds through the forgotten stories, through the echoes of those who have come before you? You take a deep breath, feeling the weight of his question settle within you. Yes, you say, your voice steady but filled with something deeper. I wish to walk the road. The keeper nods slowly, as if he's been waiting for this answer. He gestures to the path once more. Then walk, traveler. Follow the song. Follow the road. And let it guide you to where you need to be. Without another word, he turns and begins to walk down the narrow path. The sand shifts beneath his feet, and for a moment, it feels like the entire desert holds its breath. You follow him, your heart beating with anticipation, knowing that the road ahead is one you must take. As you move deeper into the dunes, the stars above seem to grow larger, their light more intense. The song swells again, a melody that fills your chest, wraps around your soul, urging you forward. The path twists and turns, winding through the sand, and as you walk, the desert begins to change. The dunes become steeper, the air cooler. The quiet is replaced by a distant hum, like the sound of an ancient engine turning deep beneath the earth. And then, you see it. A city, hidden beneath the sands. Its towers rise above the dunes like jagged bones of a long-forgotten giant. The buildings are made of stone and metal, their shapes unlike anything you've seen before, as if they belong to a time that has long passed into legend. The keeper stops in front of the entrance to the city, his hand outstretched toward the towering gates. This is the city of the forgotten, he says, his voice barely a whisper. The place where time itself sleeps, where the roads have been lost for centuries. But it is not gone. It lives, in the hearts of those who remember. You stare at the city, your breath caught in your throat. The air feels thick with history, with the weight of all the souls that have passed through this place. You know, without a doubt, that this is where your journey has led. The road does not end here, the keeper says, turning to you. But this is where it begins again. You must walk further, deeper into the heart of the forgotten. The desert around you hums, as if it's alive, aware of your presence. You take a step forward, drawn toward the city, toward the road that waits for you. Are you ready? The keeper asks, his voice as ancient as the earth itself. You nod, your heart steady and strong. You are ready. The path stretches ahead, through the forgotten city, through the forgotten roads. And you know that no matter where it leads, you will follow it, because the song of the desert is in you now, and it will guide you wherever you go. The air in the forgotten city is thick with the scent of ancient dust, a fragrance that carries the weight of centuries. As you step through the towering gates, the city before you seems to come alive in the dim light. The buildings stretch high into the sky, their stone facades weathered but resolute, as if they are quietly watching you, waiting. The keeper, silent beside you, leads you through narrow, winding streets. The city is vast, far larger than you imagined, with countless pathways crisscrossing beneath your feet. It's a maze of time, each turn an invitation to uncover something long lost. The hum that filled the air before now seems to grow louder, vibrating beneath the very stones you walk on. It's not the sound of an engine, not a mechanical hum, but something deeper, a heartbeat, a pulse. The pulse of the city itself. Listen, the keeper says, his voice barely a murmur as he stops before a stone archway. This city is not just a place. It is a memory. It holds the echoes of those who walked these roads long before you. Their stories are written in the walls, in the stones beneath your feet. You glance around, feeling an almost tangible presence around you, not ghosts, not spirits, but something more elusive. The city itself seems to hum with the whispers of those who once called it home. The keeper raises his hand, pointing toward the darkened passage beyond the archway. Beyond this passage lies the heart of the city, he says. The place where all the forgotten souls are remembered. It is where the roads converge, where the stories of the lost are woven together. Without hesitation, you follow him through the archway. The darkness envelopes you for a moment, and then you step into a vast chamber, one that seems to stretch beyond the limits of space. The ceiling is high above, lost in shadow, and the walls are lined with intricate carvings, pictures, symbols, and scenes from lives long past. It's a library of souls, a repository of forgotten memories. As you walk deeper into the chamber, the hum grows louder. The pulse of the city now feels like it's coming from within you, echoing in your chest. The air is thick with emotion, with the stories of lives lived and lost, of dreams pursued and abandoned. In the center of the room, there is a pedestal, and upon it rests a stone tablet, glowing faintly in the dim light. The keeper steps forward and places his hand upon it, and the chamber comes to life. Images flicker across the walls, fleeting glimpses of faces, of moments frozen in time. You see a woman standing in a garden, her face serene, holding a child in her arms. A man in a scholar's robe sits in a library, his eyes fixed on an ancient manuscript. A group of travelers, their faces hidden by hoods, stand on the edge of a cliff, gazing into a vast, uncharted landscape. These are the stories of the forgotten, the souls who once walked these roads, their lives now reduced to whispers in the wind. And yet, their presence is strong here, as though they are still waiting, still watching. This, the keeper says, is where you will find your path. The lost roads, the forgotten souls, they will guide you, if you listen. You step closer to the pedestal, drawn by an unexplainable force. Your fingers hover just above the glowing stone, and for a moment, you feel a pull, an invitation. You close your eyes, and the song of the desert fills your ears once more, now louder, more insistent. It is not just a song of the earth anymore, it is a song of the souls, the travelers who have walked before you. The moment your fingers touch the stone, the images around you grow clearer. You see faces, familiar and foreign, looking back at you, as though they have been waiting for you to arrive. The chamber fills with their voices, each one telling a story, each one offering a lesson. A woman's voice speaks softly, "The road is never easy, but it is worth the journey. For it is not the destination that matters, but the wisdom you gain along the way." A man's voice follows, gruff but kind, "Do not fear the unknown. It is the unknown that holds the answers you seek. Only by stepping into the dark can you find the light." And then, a child's laughter echoes through the chamber, a sound so pure, so full of hope, that it brings a smile to your face. You open your eyes and find yourself standing at the center of the chamber, the stone tablet glowing brightly beneath your hand. The voices of the lost souls fade into the background, and you feel a sense of peace, of knowing that you are not alone on this journey. Their stories, their wisdom, are now a part of you. The keeper stands quietly by your side, his eyes watching you with a knowing gaze. "The road ahead is still long," he says. "But you are no longer a stranger to this city, to its stories. The forgotten souls will guide you, and their paths will lead you to the answers you seek." You nod, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. The road is not just a physical journey. It is a journey of the soul, one that takes you through the forgotten paths of time, through the lives of those who have walked before you, and through the lessons they left behind. As you turn to leave the chamber, the walls seem to shimmer with a new light. The hum in the air is steady, a constant reminder that the road is always with you, always calling you forward. You step out of the chamber and back into the vast, silent city. The keeper is gone now, his presence fading into the shadows. But you know that you carry the echoes of the lost with you, that their stories will guide you through the forgotten roads ahead. As you walk through the city, the echoes of the lost souls linger, a soft murmur beneath your feet. The ancient stones seem to hum with a rhythm, as though the very earth is alive with memories, and you find yourself walking in sync with that pulse, guided by a force greater than your own. The path ahead is unclear, but the hum of the city, the song of the lost souls, is now a part of you. It fills you with warmth, with courage. The city is no longer a maze to navigate, it is a place where you belong, where you are connected to the past and to the road that stretches ahead. As you near the gates of the city, the sun breaks through the horizon, casting a golden light over the stone walls. The light catches the edges of the carvings on the buildings, illuminating faces long forgotten, scenes from lives that once thrived in this place. The city, it seems, has come alive once more, its ancient heartbeat now echoing in your own chest. At the gates, you pause, taking one last look at the city, at the silent towers, the winding streets, and the ancient paths that led you here. It is a city of stories, of lost souls, of wisdom that transcends time. But it is also a city of endings and beginnings, of journeys completed and journeys yet to come. The song, once distant and faint, now fills the air, resonating in your bones. It is a melody of hope, of renewal, of the understanding that life is not just about the destination, but about the lessons you gather along the way. You take a deep breath and step out of the gates, the cool breeze of the outside world greeting you. The city fades behind you, but its song remains, carried on the wind. The road ahead is yours to walk. There are no maps, no signs, only the rhythm of your steps and the echoes of those who walked before you. But now, you know that you are never truly alone. The lost souls, the stories of the past, are with you, guiding you forward. The keeper's words echo in your mind, the road ahead is still long, but you are no longer a stranger to it. And with that, you smile, knowing that each step is part of a greater journey, one that will continue long after the gates of this forgotten city close behind you. And so, as the song of the lost souls fades into the distance, you walk on, carrying their wisdom, their love, and their quiet strength with you, knowing that no matter where the road leads, the journey is always worth it.